Hey guys, it's Tomasz here, and welcome to another episode of React Native. Today we're gonna do something slightly different. So I was supposed to work on our slot machine up, but as per usual, the design is a bit delayed. I've been promised I'm gonna get the design tomorrow, so today we're gonna work on something else. Um, what I have planned for today is recreating a classic game called Minesweeper. So I'm pretty sure you are familiar with Minesweeper, but if you are not, then you probably are like in your teenage years right now. But Minesweeper is a very classic game. According to Wikipedia, it actually goes back to the 1960s, but it made popular by Windows. I believe it was part of Windows 3.1. Uh, I first came across of it, I think, in Windows 95 or something like that. But I found a JavaScript implementation on the web, and it looks something like this. The game is pretty simple. You have a minefield, and you essentially start by randomly clicking, and if you hit a mine, then you lost. If you hit a block that has a neighbor, that's a mine. You see a number there, so this block has one mine as a neighbor. This 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm just being unlucky. Okay. When you hit something that doesn't have a neighbor, it automatically reveals the island essentially. So we're gonna try to implement this in React Native. It shouldn't take too long. So let's get to it. So I already set up a project. It's created by Create React Native app. If you want to use Expo, feel free to use Expo, but I just got used to this one. All right, so let's get rid of the boilerplate quickly. I want a component. I'm not gonna need scroll view. I'm gonna need style sheet. Not gonna need this. Text status bar. This one all can go. Export default class up extends component constructor props super props render return. I'm gonna return a view with style equals styles.container. Let's get rid of this and this, and we already exporting the app, so container will be a flex one. All right. I can spell. It's extremely hot in London today, and I can't have my window open because London is noisy, so I'm sweating. Sorry about that. All right, so little bit of scaffolding here. I need a folder for components. I'm gonna need a assets. I'm gonna need a new folder inside assets image, and as per usual, I like to create constants.js. Export default constants equals import dimensions from React Native and max width dimensions dot get screen dot width, and same for height. And import this, import constants from. Cool. All right, so that's just a little bit of scaffolding. So let's think about this game. So we have a grid of cells, I think this is 15 by 15. So we need the constants for the board size. Board size will be, I'm gonna do 10 by 10. I also want a constant that represents how big each cell is. It's just easier to render. I can actually calculate that based on the screen size, but let's keep things simple. So cell size, I'm gonna say, let's say 30, and that's about it. Okay, so first things first, let's calculate the full board width. This dot board width equals constants dot cell size times constants dot board size. Simples. I'm gonna need a grid, so I'm gonna keep each cell in a two-dimensional array essentially. I'm gonna need to initialize this. I'm gonna get back to it, but for now let's just put something here. View style equals width this dot board width, height this dot board width as well, and do background color. So we see something 888, and basically in this view we're gonna draw cells, draw container views which will represent the row of cells. So the flex direction needs to be column. Flex direction column. Okay, and I want this to be justify content center align items center. So everything is nice and in the middle. I'm gonna enable. Yay! We kind of have a board now, and I'm gonna create a render board function method, which will return nothing for now. And here this dot render board. Cool. So let's initialize this this grid. So I'm gonna do I can do just a for loop, but let's be fancy. Array dot apply null array h constants dot board size dot map l index, and I'm gonna return an array dot apply, same thing essentially. And return null. So all this does is initializes a 10 by 10 two-dimensional array. Cool. So let's render this board. So instead of this, I'm gonna return so array.apply null this thing. I'm gonna call it row index because I'm gonna need that. Yeah, and inside let cell list equals same thing but with column index, call index, and this should return a cell. We will define that cell with a key of call index, and here we're gonna return a view which will be style equals constants dot actually no, this dot board width equals this dot board width, so it's a full width. Height will be constants dot cell size, and flex, so this is row, so flex direction row, right? And inside there will be the cell list. Cool. Now we need a component which will be a cell.js. I'm gonna steal this cell render return a view with style equals styles dot, let's say, cell, and with this props width, height this props height view, and const styles equals style sheet dot create, and we need a cell which will have a background color of blue. Okay, I just need to pass in, I already, I need to pass in width equals constants dot cell size, height equals constants dot cell size. Cool, let's see. Nothing happens because in app.js return, oh, I have to just relaunch this, I believe. Oh, I need to import the cell. Okay. Import cell from components cell. And now I have to rebuild it again because it's not part of the alright. We still have issues. Sorry, I keep doing it over and over again. I just don't trust the packager sometimes. Okay, we are loading. What's happening? Constants. Okay. I know why. Of course, because we are copy pasting stuff. And the packager is dead again. Cool, everything is blue. Okay, let's give it some styling. So I want to go with the old school Windows styling. So I downloaded some images. So let's steal some styling here. I'm gonna copy this color, which will be background color, that. And if you notice, I have the
top and the left borders are white, and bottom and the right borders are 7D, 7D. So border left, actually border width is 2. Actually, let's make it 3. Border top color is FF. Border left color is FFF. Border right color will be this one. Border bottom color will be this one. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I want to just set quickly a background color for this whole thing. Background color is okay. Amazing. Now, what do we need is essentially, if you look at the game, so first of all, each cell has like a state. Is it like revealed or not, right? So did the user already click on it or not? And also, does it have a mine in it or not? So let's keep it in a state. Is that state equals revealed false is mine, and let's just randomize it. So mod.random is less than 0.2. So I want like about 20% of the cells to be mines, essentially. What else is there? So when you click on something that's not a mine but has a mine in their neighborhood, we have to keep track of the number of neighbors. So I'm gonna do neighbors is null for now. The problem is the cell is like, it's a pretty tiny component, so it's not exactly aware of its surroundings. So we will have to figure out the surroundings from the main application components. So I need a reference for it. Ref equals ref this dot grid, and I want the column index, call an index, and a row index to be ref. Cool. I also want to make the cell aware of where the cell is. So what I'm gonna do is send in an x, which will be a column index, and a y, which will be a row index. Right, and also because this is in a loop, let's add the key here, which will be row index, so the engine doesn't complain. Alright, cool. So we have to handle when the user presses on this cell and reveal it. So I'm gonna use touch opacity and wrap this thing into 1. Touch opacity on press equals this dot on reveal. Cool. So when the user taps on it, it's gonna call on reveal equals things, and that's about it. So you can tell we can now tap on each of these. So what should happen when on reveal happens? We need to call this dot set state revealed true. Cool. Okay, so let's change our render function and do something different based on this. If this dot state dot if not is the state revealed, return this, right? And if it's revealed as let's have a let content null for now, and do something like return view style equals styles dot cell revealed, and the same like width and height thing. And let's create a cell revealed. Okay, so how does the revealed cell look like? Let's steal this. It will have a background color, and it will have a border width. It look like 1, and the border color, which will be 70. What a surprise! All right. People complain that my videos are not really zoomed in, so let's do this. Border color this. Yeah. Unexpected as sure. How is that unexpected? I completely expecting it. Let's try this. Oh, okay. It's unexpected because that's not how you program. Cool. So now if I click, they kind of stay the same. Cool. Okay. First things first, what should happen here? So in our onReveal thing, onReveal method, we have to set the state, but also have to call the main application, because the main application, the main component, will figure out how many neighbors this cell has, and set the neighbors based on that. Okay, so what we need to do here is, first of all, let's make this nicer, relatively nicer. So we have the reference here. I'm gonna pass in an on reveal equals this dot on reveal, and on die is dot on die. Okay, on die equals this, and on reveal equals xy. So we will need to know which cell just got revealed, and on die should be pretty simple. For now, I'm gonna do an alert. Alert dot alert. Oops, you step on a mine. What a shame. And here, what we can do is, if this dot state dot is mine, call this dot props dot on die. Otherwise, call this dot props dot on reveal with this dot props dot x this dot props dot y. Okay. Cool. Let's try this out. So I'm gonna try to step on the mine now. Come on. Oh, okay. So apparently that was a mine. Let's deal with rendering the mine. I made another screenshot here, so I'm gonna steal some very complex design here. So I have a tolerance of 10. Okay, that should be fine. Copy it to make sure the edges are alright. And I'm gonna do Minesweeper, assets, image, and mine.png. Alright, and what we need to do, as per usual, I'm gonna create a new file here, images.js, export default images equals mine require /images.mine.png, and in the cell I can just import images from assets images. Okay, so here, so this is when we are revealed, as set this content to be null. If I do if dot this dot state dot is mine, then content could be a image with a source of images.mine with a width of this dot props dot width /2 and the height of this dot props dot height /2. Cell revealed, let's make cell revealed to be align items center, justify content center, and here resize mode equals stretch, I believe. Okay, that's, I think this should do it. Let's see. And actually, oh, of course, I need to print the content. Oh, that's as big as mine. I'm sure about this. Ooh. Okay. That is interesting. So the width, height, content. That is pretty crazy. Why is that? This does props dot width. Oh, because idiot. Style equal width and height. That. Alright, that's much better. Cool. So we can now kind of die. What we need to, the other things is else if this dot state dot neighbors. Okay, content will be for now, let's make it just a text with this dot state dot neighbors. Okay. So if this if the neighbors are set, then we're gonna essentially print it inside.
We're gonna make it nice. I mean the design nice later on, but here let's just test this out. So what we can do is this dot grid x and y, x and y set state neighbors equals 7. And reload. Okay, so that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Oh, because I can't spell that word. That's why. Text is not defined, of course. Why isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's now setting the neighbors, but it's not printing it for some reason. Because I can't spell this word correctly, that's why. English. Okay, so now it's printing stuff. Cool. So now let's figure out the number of neighbors here. Okay, so we get essentially the x and y coordinates of the item. So we want to go from so if you just check the x-axis, so we go to from -1 to +1, and the same on the y-axis, so -1 to +1. So we just have to check the isMine property of the surrounding cells. So for let e equals -1, e less than equal 1, e plus plus. For let y equals -1, I less y. Why is it y? J is less than equal +1, j plus plus. Okay, so I need to do a bunch of checks here because we don't want to overflow the board in any direction. So what we need to do, if x plus I is greater or equal to 0, so we are not overflowing on the left, and x plus I is less than equal constants dot board size -1, and the same thing with y, then do the following. So this dot so if this dot grid x plus I, y plus I dot is fine, let total neighbors equals 0. If this neighbor is a mine, then neighbors plus plus. Okay, so you notice that it's actually checking itself, but if we are here, we know that we are not a mine, so it's not gonna overcome. So you know, we don't really care. So if neighbors, then this dot grid x and y set state neighbors
nice. What we, so let's test this out first. Reload. Oh, lovely. Actually, that should have been a 1. Okay, something is not working. J. Oh. So first of all, that and that. Lovely. Come on. What is happening here? Let's go debugging here. Okay, 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay, so that's correct. So if x plus I is greater equals 0 and x plus I dot state. I can't even think in this this heat. Okay, cool. So I guess either this or this is mine. Yeah, that was mine. Okay, cool. So that's that. Now what we need to do is when you hit one of these empty blocks, you need to reveal everything around it and like kind of cascade. So what we do here is this dot reveal neighbors x and y and reveal neighbors x and y. Okay, so we're gonna do a very similar loop here. So we have to go around and do a this dot grid x plus I y plus I dot reveal. So we're gonna call the actually on reveal method on this. And there is one problem with this. We don't want to reveal if it's a mine, right? So I'm gonna do a parameter here which should be user initiated, right? So if it's a user initiated and it's a mine, then we have to die. First of all, so if this dot state dot revealed, if it's already revealed, then return. You don't have to do anything. If if not user initiated, so it's one of the cascade things, and then this dot state dot is mine, just return. Okay. So what it's gonna do, what it should do is actually it should do exactly what we expect it to do. Except, all right. Let me try to hit one of those empty blocks. Aha. Okay, maximum cost size exceeded. I saw this a couple of times before, so this is a funny thing and not a very well-known thing. So notice that we are calling this set state. Now the issue is, like, when this on reveal is called, it's gonna call the on reveal on all the surrounding ones. So you will end up in a position where you go into kind of an infinite loop. And most people think that set state is instant, but in fact it's not. So we have this exit condition here. So if it's already revealed, don't do anything, and that should kind of end the infinite loop. But because set state is kind of slow, it's revealed is not set in time. So what we need to do is do this whole callback here and put it into set states not very well known callback, and that should take care of it. Okay, lovely. That was funky. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So it kind of did what it needs to do. It just did it in a very weird way. Undefined is not an object. Okay, so x plus I and y plus I. So somehow we are running, something is wrong in this. Sorry about this. I have to. Okay. I have to do that, and also I forgot to do, what is it? Okay, so completely forgot to pass in the parameter. Okay, I don't know why it does this kind of things. So something is wrong with our for loop. J equals -1. So this doesn't really. J plus. I have a typo somewhere and it's killing me. If x plus I is. First of all, we don't want to check ourselves, but if x not equals I not equals 0 or j not equals 0, I don't think that's the issue. X y dot j constant. Maybe that was the issue, although I just don't see why. One thing that kind of bothers me is, let's do a new game button, because refreshing this thing every time is annoying. Button title equals new game on press equals So what we want to do on reset game is for e equals 0, e less than constants dot board size e plus plus. Same for a j. And this dot grid I j dot reset. And what dot reset does is very simple. Just set the state to be the default. Alright. Cool. Awesome. So this diagonal thing, what the hell is happening there? It's kind of grows infinitely in that way. Oh, I had a J. Okay. That was fun. Awesome, this is what we want. Cool. And I guess the last thing, well, besides some styling, the last thing we want to do is when you hit a mine, we want to reveal the cell without any sorts of callback. So reveal without callback, which should just do this dot set state revealed true. Of course, if it's not already revealed. And we can just do kind of like this, but here reveal without callback. Sometimes I just by reflex put a semicolon. So what this should do is show us all the mines when the user loses. Cool. I think this is it. I can have fun with the colors, you know, just show different colors when, you know, for the numbers. I can use, you know, in the original game you can flag something as a mine if you know for sure that's a mine. We can, you know, it's pretty trivial to do. You can just on this touchable opacity you add the on long press, I believe it's called. Let me double check that. Except no long, or actually, how do you do? I did it before on long press. Yeah, apparently there is an on long press since React 58. Okay, yeah, so what I would do for the flagging is add the long press handler and use that to add flags, and in that case you just add in the state a flagged variable, and you set the content to be a flag icon. And what you need to do is when you are counting, when you do the on reveal, you just exclude that the same way you do this. Alright, so this is it for today.
Sorry about the sweatiness, it's still super hot here. If you like the content, please do subscribe, like, leave a comment, send me a letter, whatever. That kind of helps with YouTube to pick up the content and kind of encourages me to create more. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'm gonna have the design for the slot machine, so I'm gonna continue working on that. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys. Have a good one.